Greetings and welcome to the energy of Virgo. This is Ron from Tarot of the Twin Sun. Tarot of the Twin Sun is a functional division within the Order of the Twin Sun. We shall go ahead and do a karma reading and look into the energy between the sixth house. That is the energy of Virgo, as well as any significant other that Virgo may be dealing with, okay? Through the Great Mirror, it's a 9-card spread that is devised by the order to see apparent karmas that may exist between, once again, the significance of another and Virgo energy. So yeah. We'll go ahead and get started, I suppose. One other thing, an extended will be available this month in particular to generate a bit of revenue for the order, as well to go further into the extended version of the reading, which is essentially going to see multiple layers that revolve around certain karmas, just basically clarification, as well as a deeper reading that will be available in a link in the description box below as well. You can email me for that in the About section of the YouTube page. So, let's look first into the energetic karma that exists for the month of July 2021 for the energy of Virgo. Okay. Okay, double eights. There's a type of investigation, reanalysis, looking finer into the details of something that was left behind, energetically especially, having to cut the umbilical, having to deal with a feeling of, excuse me, a sense of home that you might have left behind, something that you've had to leave for the sake or the cause of work, the cause of mission, purpose, design. It's been a lonely path, resembles hermititude, and on this path it's also been a type of burden. Reminds me of Calvary or Golgotha, essentially the hill next to the temple of Aphrodite in Jerusalem. Okay, old temple of Aphrodite that was eventually converted by Constantine, and it essentially was the place where Jesus Christ was crucified. The temple, or the hill of Golgotha, that area. Now, when it comes to this, is movement from the 8 of Cups into the 9 of Cups in the upright. 8 of Cups in reverse, 9 of Cups into the upright. And also, yeah, there it is again. The difference being the 6 of Rods. This has to do with passage, the ability to do the right thing while in passage, while in movement. Lots of movement. Slow drudgery, but also paying attention once again to the details that might be extremely burdensome on some sort of quest here, or some sort of mission. In order to do what exactly? It's the 9 of Cups. To be detached from especially anything that revolves around emotional or creative investments, okay? Having to move away from the past, to sever from the past in terms of memories or wishes, sort of not celebrated, and then trying to come into a place of the Nine of Cups, which is essentially um, emotional distance, emotional zen, the ability to perceive in an abstract way and calculate in an abstract way without being encumbered by the depth the depth of emotion, the depth of Neptune and Pluto as well, not being altered by that. Okay, so there's a sense of purity on this path or this quest that the energy of Virgo is going through now. This has to do with working hard, finding the details, and this is very burdensome, tedious work. Okay, this also revolves around the idea of the rite of passage to coming into gateways of new existence, places to essentially spend your time and energy at. It requires a great deal of solitude, but also, excuse me, a type of emotional distancing, dryness. Okay, and that's the path of Saturn for you. So the key signature is that of Saturn, at least within karma, within what's going on. So I would recommend checking out your Vimshotari Dasha, as well as Saturn transits that may be occurring for the energy of your own particular astrological configurations. Okay, and we can look into that more. The role of Saturn, especially in the extended, right? Yeah, is this leading to a type of truth and isolation? That leads to a type of new beginning, trying to find simpler forms of cuppage, of cups, simpler forms of happiness. The sixth house is open. Your seventh, the 12th is open. Okay. Interesting. So, what I'm seeing here is Virgo, Nuit, 4. There is a need to be devoted to a sense of self that is reflective of true nature. Deep down inside, this connection, whatever it is, has awoken a type of cyclical pattern that it stems from the idea of what, once again, you can call the temple of your body, or the home, or the harem of your mind. There's something here that revolves around the sun and the moon, essentially learning through hatha, a type of yoga, or a type of union that pulls you to this energy. Okay, pulls you to this significant other. They resemble, for example, a source of energy that provides insight on a very deep and profound level, that seems faded, that has some form of radiance to it, in which you may feel on the subconscious or the unconscious realms affect you in a certain way, fill you with a sense of radiance or fullness. Okay, there's a glow that is mutually sort of respective. Okay, but the aspects come at a cost. Okay, with the illumination of full moon energy, there are certain key insights that help you to understand, especially the emotional wealth, the inner knowing that expands with the waxing and the waning of the moon, more the waxing until its fullest form. Yes, but the moon is always there, and there's something about the energy of night and trying to understand the what some may call embryonic form, okay, that merges out of the ether, conception, the idea of mother and father uniting together to create the embryonic journey, okay, which is conception. It's the idea of bringing forth um, the sense of union, the sense of complete harmony with two celestial bodies. Yes. Um, Now the difficulty is when it comes to this connection, there is a type of exacting coldness that has evolved in terms of the conscious aspects of it. The highest form of air has become frigid, okay, with Haut the King of Swords, in the reverse, okay, the five showing up here as well, okay, so that's the axis of fixed air, fixed fire, okay, and what does this axis represent? The ability to, well, it's traditional trope of the missing father figure, okay, that has crippled generations, that has crippled many a people, and many a generation. So basically, there's this cold shoulder effect that is being executed in order to prove some sort of point. Okay, now one thing that really strikes me is the cross leg here, cross leg of the this Aquarian figure. This is a quasi-hanged man, okay, but the hangman is sitting, um, but the cross leg really sort of strikes me. Um, when it comes to the triplicity of air, cross leg, um, at least in the occult reference, points to many things, but usually it indicates at least one foot having dominance on keeping the foothold on the ground. Um, that can point to many things, but mostly it points to Purva Bhadrapada, okay, which is one of the sort of nakshatras or lunar mansions of Aquarius energy that that indicates a lightning bolt. Okay, but because this lightning bolt is in reverse, there's something extremely Uranian about the quality of this reading so far. Lightning bolt is also indicative of the spark of creation that occurs on a neurological level, insight, eureka moments that come, um, but somehow are radiating outward from the ground as opposed to going into ground. Okay, so there is this sort of lunacy or a signature of lunacy that occurs here that has to do with also an exacting mind. Okay, lunacy being the night, the moon's energy, Virgo energy strong here, dedication in the sixth house, but also obstacles in the sixth house, obstacles between mother and father figures, obstacles between that which receives light and then radiates it again, as well as that which has a great deal of ego, on the other hand, that is extremely possibly self-centered, that is the center of the galaxy. That kind of ego is extremely um, uh, uh, implosive to the point where it creates its own gravitational pull. That's something to behold. But that's how stars are formed. What emerges out of this, though, is a type of ennui, out of all things, at least in the subconscious realm, the magical realm. And ennui is essentially a French term for boredom, but also there is a sophisticated ennui that stems from especially modernist principles, at least when it comes to literature studies. that has to do with a cultural sort of blasé, a way of, well, they would call it a gourmand, or someone who is an intellectual elite that becomes extremely jaded with especially emotional undercurrents. Okay, this is a very dry Saturnian Uranian King of Swords in the reverse. It's also ennui, which is usually the Bodhisattva, or on a higher form, but on a lesser form, someone who just doesn't give a damn about what is being offered, does not want to play the game of romance, okay, is bored of potentially romance or creativity in general. There could be something that lays heavy on the crown of Virgo when it comes to thoughts that become extremely polarized, that become extremely not only dogmatic but intellectualized to a point where the lemon is squeezed to its fullest potential, and there's nothing left in terms of liquid content, the content of liquid water. Where is the emotional sensitivity? It comes from the moon primarily. Moon is driving the tidal waves of force. Moon may be also affecting the king's mind. Okay, King of Swords. That's the highest of minds. Yet that reverse lightning bolt, that whole idea of Purva Bhadrapada, is sort of the representation of something very famous but also infamous. Okay, there's an infamous signature to the mind and to the subconscious realm that is emerging in terms of the mirror's energy, how you are being shown, how the energy of Virgo is being shown through this this rebellious, sort of strength, this intellectual superiority, in a way. Yet there is a type of devotion here. Now we have to unearth this a bit more. Now you're dealing with someone here that reflects the Aquarian energy here with Debolement. Yet instead of the fifth house and the axis of Leo and Aquarius, it moves and shifts into the fourth. Okay, now what is the fourth house? The fourth house is essentially, once again, the idea of a sense of propriety, where you belong, where you can be and have authority, where you can have a sense of home or a sense of ashram, a temple of the body or of the spirit, in which to contain what? A sense of, excuse me, unconditionality, mostly, I think. A sense of undefiled, the undefiled. Now here is the first mirror. It's diagonal, primarily, but also here on the horizontal. Okay, energy of Aquarius in the reverse, King of Swords in the reverse, Haut Méchant, and Déploiement, which is the energy of Cancer, the 69. As you can see, the 69 as well, the virginal sort of untouched Eve figure, who is pouring out the Two of Cups energy in order for transformation, as well as the influences of Moon, New Moon, especially Taurus, Mars, Venus, and Jupiter here. Okay. Now, what does all this indicate? What does it indicate? Saturn is also here. What does this indicate? This indicates sort of detachment that is being mutually reflected. What is being brought about is a memory, or perhaps, excuse me, there's something about you that is pondering about something that has been shared, something that has been brought to the table, so to speak, okay? Mirrored with the Four of Rods that was showed earlier, okay? This is a type of gateway situation that involves two high minds that are serving the realm of the axis of Leo and Aquarius. Now, what is this axis? I asked the question before. Primarily, it has to do with detachment, modes of detachment, as well as the ability to walk the path of independence. To do what? To show the new generation, to show the next generation where, we can say where no man has boldly gone before, no man or woman has boldly gone before. And there's something here about it with the Six of Cups that brings forth a connection that is virginal, that is untouched, yet both parties are extremely heady about it. in a psychic way, but also in an elevated mindset in order to be rid of emotional content in general. Yet, in the irony of all that, the spilling of cups, there is a sense that there is something there, yet you are bored of it, yet you may intellectualize it to the point of extremity, that you may think about it too much, especially with the sword of the king pointed downward, the sword in the stone, the sword that is grounded, yet at the same time the lightning bolt that is emerging from this energetic crossing of the energies of metal and earth, and the sword and the stone, that whole legend and lore. Okay, this talks about worthiness, and on the path of independence, on the path of those that are worthy. Primarily, I see essentially a way of surrendering in terms of letting go of it all. You know, trying to understand the difference between the energy of 4 and 5, the energy of Cancer, and the energy of the child in Leo. Okay, Cancer is the mother. With this, there's a possibility, excuse me, of letting go, and in effect letting things grow in their own sort of accordance. Okay, accordance with the times, accordance with the age, of especially detached modes of appreciation through mutual respect. Okay, this involves a higher mind. This also involves the silence uh, of a generation, you know, that is dying in the old age of Pisces. You're also dealing here with someone who may mirror your energy in some respect, considering the home vessel is here, uh, Visio, home Visio, which is the King of Pentacles in reverse. King of Pentacles in reverse and King of Swords in reverse. Capricorn energy here. I'm thinking Shravana, mostly in terms of nakshatras, which is essentially the realm of hearing, the realm of listening. There's a type of no, hear no evil, speak no evil situation here. What cannot be uttered is essentially something that will not affect, um, will not curse, or will not charm. Okay, will not create, in effect, a spell. Okay, and this is a good thing, but it also can mean there's a dry spell here, big time, because of all the water pouring. Okay, and this sort of this thirst that is being sort of accepted as a form of, especially Purva Bhadrapada, extreme sort of reprimanding, or some sort of obeisance, which is like sacrifice, or extreme sort of self-flagellation in order to through fasting, especially. This is fasting on a spiritual level, but also fasting from this connection, fasting from the emotional contents of this connection, fasting and almost in a bulimic way, being rid of it all in some sort of respect. Yet in that there is the Six of Cups that emerges, this type of memory. Okay, um, because the two kings are here, once again, the element of earth and air. Hmm. This talks also about the need to ascend, or the need to lose footing in terms of the gears that may have shifted between you and the significant other. Okay, I think they consciously know what they're doing, yet what they want to bring about is something that would totally destabilize not only the connection itself, but um, themselves in some respect. There's something about them that needs to let go or let loose in order to do what? In order to find a sense of devotion. Now, there's a strong mirroring here that is happening with this 4-6 in the Four of Cups with ennui. and the 6-4, 4-6-6-4. Okay, lots of ego is here, lots of ego, and ego is not a bad thing. It gets such a negative rap in most new wave and um, intellectual, quasi-intellectual, quasi-spiritual self-help realms. Ego is given such a negative representation, and I think willpower is something that is extremely filled with authority. If the will is also not of your own, if it's of some sort of higher design or order, perhaps that's something that is being searched for here. I think this person has good intentions. That is my inclination, so far, at least. Um, there also is something about them that is constantly trying to explore and be devoted, but there is a mutual devotion, once again, with the 46 and the 64 here, that is emerging, that has to do with essentially not partaking in the material aspects of the game, of the so-called realities that we bring into existence, not taking part of that. In order to destabilize or decentralize in some sort of way, there also is some sort of fasting or a hunger strike or not partaking in offers on your end in order to find a sense of purity or devotion that is clearly a sense of self-respect. This self-respect is mutually sort of mirrored in some respect. Um, Now, let's see what's in the mirror here. Oh, there it is, the 6. I told you. So the 6 I originally got from the 4 plus the 2 of cups here. There's 6 cups, okay? With the energy of Cancer strong, devotion especially to some sort of Saturnian or Uranian order or disorder, okay? The influence of the heavens strong. But what emerges on the conscious level is the 44. Lots of 4s, lots of 6s here. Lots. It's all over the board. 6, 4, 2, 4, 6, 4, 4, 6, 4, 4, 4. The only 5 is here, okay? And that's the energy of Leo in the reverse. That would be Aquarius energy with Hamashon. But with this, there is a past here that is consciously sort of being um, uh, sort of touched on. It's touching. It's got a touching feel to it, okay? It's not a bad thing. It is not a bad thing because it's virginal. Like I said, it's untouched, yet it is touching. It leaves an impression. This whole connection and its softness, its subtlety, is mostly the thing that you both relish. However, this person is doing one of two things: trying to leave. It's a path that revolves around the exploration of faith, of what they can be determined with. An eventual return is possible as well. They're also doing it to find fertility, to find a sense of fertile lands around them. Okay, these are metaphorical lands, of course, but fertility of the mind, mostly. Okay, in the spirit. What also could be occurring here is the detraction from the 6 to the 4. So there's another type of mirroring that is sort of having them to question the nature of nurture within the connection itself on a conscious level. Okay, but both of you are thinking about this, and the king is not happy. King is also giving cold shoulder. Also, there's passive aggressiveness and a type of, once again, Purva Bhadra Prado, which is the element of Aquarius, which is essentially a detached sign anyways. Futuristic is how future looking. There's something that the king is looking at. We're going to discern that in the extended. Also, there is the 10 of Cups here. Okay, your addition to this could be the 10 of Cups, okay, which is primarily, at least mostly for this reading, I think mostly unconditionality when it comes to the expression of love or some sort of deeper connection that is creative in nature, that has to do with union of sorts, unconditional union, great compassion. Motherly love also resonates throughout this. especially with father figures that are extremely weak. They become passive. Um, that's how I see kings in reverse. They become passive. What is emerging out of this? Oh, Malser, there's that passivity again. 6 and 5. Okay, interesting. And then the 6 is here. 6, 6, 5, 6. Fambron in the reverse. Queen of Pentacles, King of Pentacles. Yes, I think there's something about you that wants to find a sense of purity. You've come to a point of elevation of the mind that is independent and also dependent on the idea of preserving uh, a way of thinking or a way of being that revolves around proper ways and modes of expressing good health. Okay, and this is a good thing. What emerges out of this is purity, a sense of clarity, a sense of good health, as well as devotion. We have to remember that sixes also represent obstacles of some sort. They can represent tribulation, also devotional work, hard work, laborious work that is every day, that is all encompassing. Okay, so if this connection has been difficult in that respect, taking too much of your time, perhaps there are things that are outside of the connection, especially while looking into the future, that are extremely helpful for especially anything that revolves around, once again, the axis of independence with Aquarius and Leo energy. Okay, fixed independence as well. There's a lot of fixed energy here that is geared towards either the Six of Cups, Ten of Cups, or the Nine of Cups. Okay, the later half of the Cups cycles are indicated heavily here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. With the Nine of Cups emerging also, that was shown in the pre-read. Yes, Nine of Cups here in the upright, and Fille Blonde. There is, what emerges out of this is a sense of cooperation, cooperation to mutually disagree or mutually refrain in some respect. Yet both of you are subtly adoring the connection of the past, especially if it is of the past. Um, it, but I mean, it's illogical to you. It doesn't make any sense in terms of that. And with the king who is cold, that sword can come flying and decapitating anyone. In terms of what is behind the king. The king's looking towards the future in a very cool and calm disregard for life. And in this, there's a sense that what emerges out of this is possibly the 6 and the 5, Malser, the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. What is the Queen of Pentacles in reverse? Is essentially the degradation of Taurus energy. Okay, Taurus energy is about what can be shared, what can be committed to, what can be gained and held on to. But with this sort of dance between sun and moon, and especially their sort of loss of an ideal, especially loss of an ideal with the king, Knight of Rods in the reverse. There's a feeling of a type of loss of the ideal, loss of union in some respect, but there's an unconditionality, a subtlety that can only be attributed to a connection that does give pleasing effects in its subtlety, and because of such, I see this person mostly as a friend. But we can go deeper into the layers, see why there is rigidity on both ends, with fixed air as well as cardinal earth in the reverse. We can look into that as well, understand why Taurus is feeling famished in this connection. This is a very important card, considering it is in the karmic sort of conditioning between both of you. Queen of Pentacles in the reverse, okay, and it speaks a lot about a lot of things, but mostly it's secretive in nature. It's tied to the 8th house. We'll go deeper into that. as well. What is it? Something about you that is trying to be protected, something that is also being affected by the intensity of certain things that are tempting within the realm, especially of Neptune, the dream. What is seen in the dream sequence? Because there's some sort of dream sequence here that I want to look into. Um, and we'll also look into advice. For small advice now, there is yeah, and you know this already. There is a realm of critique, psychological observation within this connection that needs to be understood. The avoidant mostly comes to mind when it comes to the psychological composition of all this, but I think avoidant, it hasn't had enough in terms of um, proper sort of depth when it comes to the complexity of actual behaviors and mechanisms that occur in the Aquarian age. Um, but we'll look into that as well. Okay, so if you would like the extended, please follow me to the next link, and I can send that to you through a description. Add a small donation. The donations all go towards the order and towards the publication of future contents, including written works. Otherwise, I do wish you well, and yes, please take care, my dear Virgo. Thank you for your support of the channel. Toss a like if you will, and subscribe for future content. Thank you. Bye bye.